And welcome to Nug Life Podcast. As always, I am your host, Dan Wetstein. That is my co-host, Santiago Salazar. We are here on the Answers 42 Media Network, as always, to bring you everything about the Nuggets and the NBA draft that just happened this past Thursday. And we saw some insane things, not only in who was picked, but what they were wearing. My God, Amato, what were some of these fools thinking?
Well, I was telling you before the show, it feels like these events now they turn into those Met galas, and I feel like the fashion police from the E Network need to start covering some of this stuff because it seems like it's enough content to critique. But it is just I don't know what's up with these guys trying to be fashion icons or whatever. But they need to stop it and just go out there and play ball. I was telling you, I'd rather have the baggy pants from the early 2000s than these pants that look like suction cups. Just suffocating these guys' legs.
Please bring back AI. I don't want any more Russell Westbrooks. Like we were talking about that. I think we got to blame Russell Westbrook. Amato brought that up, and I do agree with him that ever since Russell went as far left as possible, everybody else has followed. And it's
you know,
getting to the point of being ridiculous. Like we had a guy that I still don't know what was dangling from his suit. I think they were iced out skulls. There were like 100 of them on his jacket and pants. And then we have another guy that's got probably like $500,000 shoes on that are covered in freaking diamonds, wearing them with no socks with your nasty athletic self.
yeah.
Why?
So I'm wondering who are these guys' wardrobe, okay or whatever. Is it Antonio Brown? Who is their fashion? Because that's the only kind of mind I could think that could be going that crazy for some of these guys' outlandish outfits. It's ridiculous, man. It's
I
getting
swear,
insane.
I swear they
And
have
not
got
just
to.
from the NBA level, to the NFL level. I think you remember Bradley Chubb a couple years ago. Ezekiel Elliott, we were talking about him in the crop top, looking like Tracy Morgan from The Longest Yard
Yes,
in true cowboy fashion.
I love that
It,
analogy. I can't unsee it now. I can't unsee it.
it's ridiculous, man. And I think with the baseball draft and the hockey draft, I think those guys are, they don't get as much coverage, but they're probably thinking, well, at least we don't go out there looking like buffoons in these outlandish, over the top outfits.
Yes, most definitely. I have to say NHL and MLB are much more tame when it
Yeah.
comes to the outfits that they wear. Maybe it's the culture, maybe it's the sport, I don't know. But yes, definitely NFL and NBA takes the cake when it comes to trying to be the next fashionista. Like I don't understand why these guys think they need to be, but dude, just stop. Just wear a good suit. Just wear a good
hmm
nice suit in a nice color. Maybe throw on some ice. That's cool. We're cool with that.
And
But
it's
this
even
ridiculousness,
worse. It's even worse when you went all out, did this on draft night, and you end up having a mediocre, subpar career. Like, what the hell was that all for
and
what
then
was
your
that all for?
highlight, yeah, the highlight for the rest of the time, the rest of your life, whenever you're brought up on a sports cast, is that ridiculous outfit that you wore on NBA draft night. Like
Yeah.
that's going to be your legacy. Like, come on. And that's what talking about people trying to look good on the runway. How about we talk about a guy that looked good on the court and is now a Denver Nugget? That is the first draft pick and the first round pick from the Denver Nuggets, Christian Brown. It is not Braun for all of you guys that don't want to understand that sometimes words are pronounced differently than they're spelled, but it is Brown, not Braun, with the 21st overall pick. What does he bring to this roster?
He brings a lot, man. He's bringing a national champion, played for Kansas. You bring a kid who he knows how to work in a winning atmosphere. Granted, it is a different level. It's still the top. He still got to the top of the tournament with his team. So it brings an experienced guy who knows what it's like to be a winner. He's 6'7", he's 6'6" or 6'6". He's long, plays good defense. He reminds me a little bit of a Grayson Allen without the dirtiness. Alex Caruso, a hustle type of guy. He can knock down the three, shot 38% from 3-point range last year, shot half a percentage from the field goal, from field goals altogether. And he's a great finisher. So that's what he brings for this Nuggets team. And this is what I think it tells us to Nuggets Nation. this is almost a guarantee that Will Barton is on the way out because Will Barton was one of those energy guys who brought what Christian Brown brings. Christian Brown's younger, he's longer, and I think he's a perfect fit for a team that has is building around Nikola Jokic when he needs outlet passes and guys to run the floor the way that Christian Brown can.
I love the Alex Caruso comp. He is the guy that everybody you play against hates, but your team loves. He's a guy that's going to get under your skin, kind of like a Patrick Beverly, but he's much bigger, stronger, and all
Yes.
those than Beverly. So the Alex Caruso comp is perfect. And you're 100% right. This is a winner. This is a big guy that's going to take over for Will Barton. He is bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic, and he plays defense. This is that man's calling card. We have talked about how the Nuggets need defense and need a 3 and D wing. Well, we thought they were going to go and trade for a guy. Instead, they stayed pat at 21 and got their guy on a rookie contract while they are still already in the luxury tax and will go farther once they get into free agency. And you are correct. His final year at Kansas, he hit 49% from the field, 38% from three, 73% from the free throw line, 6.5 rebounds per game, and 2.8 assists per game, plus one steal. And he also has some blocking ability as he averaged zero point 0.8, almost one block per game in his final season at Kansas. So the man plays defense. He hits the three-pointer at almost a 40% clip and hits from anywhere on the court. I almost said field. I apologize. At almost 50%. So
Yeah.
the man is all the rage of what is in the NBA. A
Well,
big, long 3 and D wing that can score for you and then turn around and play defense on the other end. He has several accomplishments. NCAA champion, second team All Big 12 in 22, Big 12 All Freshman team in 2020, and Mr. Kansas basketball his senior season in high school, which he actually helped lead to 3 straight Class 6A state titles. This kid has won since he jumped out the womb.
hmm.
There's no better definition of a winner than Christian Brown.
Is he from Kansas? Is
He is
that
from
his?
Kansas. He went to Blue Valley Northwest High School in Overland Park, Kansas.
So not much of a travel, but I love that
No.
analogy. You know, he's a player that other teams hate, and you want him on your team. And I was just thinking this in these playoffs when the Nuggets played the Warriors. Who's that guy on the Warriors that you hate that guy with all your guts, but you wish if you was on your team, you would freaking love that guy. That would be your favorite player, and that's Draymond Green. Now, I don't think
Yes,
Christian Braun has the intensity of Draymond Green or the acting skills of Draymond Green, but he
I like that
brings
take.
that he brings that intensity though. He might be the white Draymond Green if things play out the way we want him to.
Yeah,
Christian Braun, but the thing about him is he has an offensive game shooting wise. Not saying Draymond's not a good facilitator. He's probably the best at what he does at his position on the offensive side, facilitating the basketball.
yes,
But Christian Braun can knock down some threes, 38%. Now we don't know how that's going to translate in the NBA because the 3-point line is much further. But I think, he averaged 14 points last year. He's a great finisher. You don't shoot 38 from 3-point land and 49 altogether without making some good, drives to the basket, some good shots from mid range. So he's a 3-level scorer. That's what the Nuggets need. And what he brings to the defense, I mean, I give this draft pick a B plus just because I wanted one of the Jalen boys. I wanted one of the Jalen boys. I wanted
I
was it
did.
Jalen Williams? The Jalen Williams, right?
Yes, yes.
I wanted one, but Oklahoma City got both of them. And
I
remember
know,
last
right?
week we were talking about it. How cool would it be if these guys were able to get on the same team? And Oklahoma City pulled it off. Now I don't know how serious they are about evaluating these guys. Maybe they're just doing it for jokes. But I wanted us to be the team doing the joke. That would have been
Right.
awesome to have 2
I
Jalen's
agree.
on our squad.
Yeah, the one that hurt me the most was watching Nikola Jovic go one
Oh
pick
man,
at
I saw that
29.
with the
I was like,
Spider-Man
dude,
meme.
there's no way that if Nikola falls to 30 that he's not the pick. Like I
Yeah.
know people are consternating about Peyton Watson, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But the fact that he went just one pick
Mhm.
before that was the one that hurt me. Like I loved Blake Wesley. That was my guy at 21 that I would have liked to see the guard out of Notre Dame. But
Yeah.
I'm not mad at Christian Braun at all. I will
No.
even go farther than you. I'll give this a straight A, a straight A. I won't even go
Yeah.
A minus. I will give a straight A to this pick. This is another one of those just how did you let this guy fall to the Nuggets to allow them to build their team the way that they have with MPJ, Nikola Jokic, Bones Highland. I mean, you go down the line and these guys, it's just insane to see them continuously fall to the Nuggets so far in the draft. Because it's not like they're picking in the top 10 anymore. They haven't for a long time. They're picking somewhere in the 20s to 30 almost every year, but yet they're still getting these potential superstars that they've been pumping out in this system. It's insane to watch. And I mean, you watch them get a first rounder and 2 second rounders for JaMychal Green, a guy they didn't even develop, but because he was on this team and good, he got to go to an Oklahoma City team that's not nearly as good for what was actually a pretty big steal by Calvin Booth. I mean, who thought he would get 3 draft picks for JaMychal Green?
Yeah, I'm impressed with Calvin Booth, what he was able to do with that first pick and able to maneuver that JaMychal Green trade. Want to see what he does with the Will Barton. I feel Will Barton is almost a must at this point. Like I said before, you bring Christian Brown in or Brown out, man. It feels so weird saying his name,
I know when you see it.
Brown, when it's you see that in the words. I don't know, man. I'm going all
Yeah,
over the place. The name's
you're
going
good.
crazy. But when you bring him in, we're just gonna call him Christian for now until we get some
That works.
confirmation completely. But when you bring Christian in, that's moving Will Barton completely out. So I want to see what that move is going to be with Calvin Booth, what he can do with Will Barton, and maybe get some more draft picks in the near future that can help us out.
Yeah, I agree. I think that if you can get 3 draft picks for JaMychal Green, you can definitely get some value for Will Barton, who can at any moment go off for 30 points. He might frustrate you for 4 or 5 games, scoring 3 or 5 points, but then he'll turn on the Jets and hit you for 30 points. He might not
Yeah.
play any D, but there's times that he can take over a game. So, and JaMychal has never done any of those things. So if you can get that value for JaMychal, I can only wait to see what he's able to get for Will Barton and potentially Monte Morris, who seems to be the hottest ticket in Denver.
Wouldn't you
But
say, in a way, though, before we move on, in a way, though, JaMychal Green is more valuable at his role than Will Barton is valuable in his role? Because
I think
JaMychal
with the
Green,
fact that JaMychal's more of a two-way player, probably.
but with him coming off the bench, JaMychal Green has always been a bench guy, and he's always known his role. He's always, and if he's not playing, he'll be thrown in for like 3 to 5 minutes just to get the energy going. Will Barton seems like one of these egotistical guys, where he was a bench guy. Now you moved him to the starting role, where he felt like he was well deserving of it. I won't take that away from him. But now you're putting him back to where he started, and it might have that Carmelo Anthony, Allen Iverson, ego problem. Where and it's even worse because it's Will Barton, not
Right.
those guys, and so
Exactly.
he's
Not
gonna
not
have.
Hall of Famers, just Will Barton.
So like I said, it's Toby Bryant out there thinking he's something, and I'm not saying that he isn't. He hoop better than me. He's in the NBA for a reason, but he's
Right.
not what he used to be. And he's
No.
not going to produce for a winning team. He spent how many years, how many chances do we give him in a winning scenario, in a winning atmosphere? And he blew every single one, it seems like.
Yeah, I agree. I think a fresh start for him might be the best thing for him, not
Yeah.
just the Nuggets. I think that he needs somewhere kind of like what happened with oh crap, I lost his name. The kid that went to Detroit a couple seasons ago.
Uh,
Oh,
Jeremy Grant?
Jeremy Grant. There you go.
Grant?
Sorry. Yes, Jeremy Grant. And when Jeremy went there and got a bigger role, he's proven that he belongs as a starter. So it kind of pains me to see that they kept Will but let Jeremy go.
Yeah.
And Jeremy is by far a better player and much
Completely
more
better.
consistent.
Completely
So
better.
yeah, and then so yeah, like seeing moves like that makes you worry, but they've been able to put band-aids on those with an Uncle Jeff, JaMychal Green up until this offseason. They've been able to plug those holes. So I'm going to put my faith in them, and I believe in this front office, even without Tim Connolly. I think they've made really deft moves here in the draft, and I think they'll continue that in free agency. And speaking of interesting moves, how about the fact that the Nuggets went off and drafted Peyton Watson with the 30th pick, blowing everybody away. But let's let everybody know what he brings to this roster.
Well, what he brings is I wouldn't say it's not a lot. A lot of people have been critical on this pick, even myself, just to the fact that he did not play a lot last season. He only averaged 3 points per game. But the reason why he was drafted in the first round is because of his defensive ability. And if you're able to get sneaky in the first round because of your defense, then your defense must be really freaking good. Now, Calvin Booth even said the comment, he has the intangibles and it looks like he can be an all defensive player. Now, that's high praise right there. I don't know if he'll ever get those minutes to maybe perform that way. But you think of some of these guys who came into the league with no offensive ability and were drafted solely because of their defense. A Marcus Smart, who just won Defensive Player of the Year, a Tony Allen, and that's who Peyton Watson. Let's be on the brighter side. Let's not critique it and be critical. Let's be on the brighter side of things. Peyton Watson, that's his ceiling, though. That's his potential, and where it can probably max out to is a Tony Allen or a Marcus Smart kind of player. Can he develop a shot? That's the thing. 22% from 3-point land last year and 32% altogether from the field. I don't know how good your defense is to keep you on the floor that long if you're going to be a cancer to the offense.
Yeah, I agree. At first, I was a lot like a lot of other people because of the shock value of this pick. Nobody saw this coming.
Yeah.
Nobody saw Watson going in the first round because of all the things you just said. He is all potential over production. He is dripping with tools. The kid is 6'8", 200 pounds, and his defense is much more advanced than his offensive game. But when you're a freshman and you're only getting 12.7 minutes per game, it's going to be hard to find a rhythm. I don't want to give the kid excuses, but I also want to look on the brighter side. Just like you said, the kid has all the tools. He is an absolute above the rim offensive and defensive player. The kid averaged 2.9 rebounds per game, point 0.8 assists, point 0.6 steals, and point 0.6 blocks. Again, on only 12.7 minutes per game. That is really good defense and production on the defensive end with that little amount of time. So this was a pure upside pick. This kid is not making the roster. I will say that right now. He is going to go to the G League. He is going to spend at least a year, if not two, refining that offensive game and continuing to improve the defensive game, a lot like a Deron Reed. But again, this is a player that I believe if he went back to school next year and got starters minutes, he would be a lottery pick. That's the amount of talent this kid has. He is a potential top 10 pick that the Nuggets got at 30 simply because he was unwilling to go for another year. Now, he was completely honest with UCLA. He told them when he signed last year that he would be a one and done. He told them that. Now, they also told him, we're not going to guarantee you minutes. So it was kind of a double-edged sword. Both of them played, and I think both of them kind of got burned, and that's what let this kid drop all the way to 30. Because again, if he gets a full year out there showing off the athletic ability that he did in that viral YouTube video when he was a senior in high school that blew him up and got him the offer from UCLA. The kid had no offers until that YouTube video blew up, and he just went insane in that workout video. And so that's what he did at the combine. This is a kid that not only did the Nuggets see him at the combine, they brought him in for a private workout a week before the draft. So they did a lot of homework on this kid. Now, I know there's a lot of red flags with people talking about the possible ego with him telling his coaches when he signed his scholarship that he was going to be a one and done, and then went out and did it and didn't even do it in like the way Christian Braun did. Like when Christian Braun first declared for the draft, he kept his eligibility until he got closer to the draft and knew he was going to be picked in the first round no matter what. Then he rescinded his eligibility. Watson, the moment the season was over, he declared for the draft and gave up his eligibility from that moment. So he was going into the draft regardless. So there are little red flags there that you can kind of nitpick at. But again, the tools are all there for him to be an all-world defender and has the ability to be at least productive on the offensive end.
See, I think one of the pluses of this draft pick is at least the Nuggets scouting department went and worked him out. Did you see the first overall pick of the Magic, Pablo Broncaro? The Magic didn't even work him out, didn't even give him any kind of time. That just tells you how much of BS that franchise is. But for us to able at least work with him, he must have shown some kind of athletic impressiveness for Calvin Booth to go out there and say, this is a guy who I think can be an All NBA, whatever. But like you say, I'm in total agreement with you. This is going to be a G League year where he goes down, he works on his game, needs to work on his offensive game. He brings NBA level defense. Just you don't want to be the team how the Oklahoma City Thunder were a couple years ago with Andre Roberson, former Colorado guy who was he a guard or a forward? He was a wing and he shot,
He's kind
I
of a
believe,
tweener.
30% from the free throw line though. You don't want a guy who, yeah, he brings defense. He's here to play hard on every possession, but can't score a bucket for the life of him, not even an open finger roll. And that's just something that you don't want to work with. I think a lot of fans and a lot of coaches, even players, are tolerant about not having defense, but having as much offense as you possibly can nowadays. But if it's the other way around where you can't score a bucket to save your life, but you can stop anyone at any time, I think you would rather have the guy who could score more than play defense. Because last time I checked, it's the team that wins that scores the most points.
True, but also the team that wins allowed the least points. So
All
defense
right,
and
all right,
offense
all
come
right,
hand in hand. That guy
all right,
turned that.
all right. I like that. All right, I got something
So
for you. I got something for
yeah, I got a
you.
little something. You got a little something. All right, but yeah, that's why they go hand in hand. You have to have. That's why 3 and D wings are the rage. It's all about points per possession and plus minus. It's about how much more points you score when you're on the court as opposed to the opponent. That's the advanced stats that most people are looking at, and that's why these kids like Brown, Watson, etc., are such a rage in the league. Is because you got to be able to do both or
Yeah,
you can't win. I mean, look at the Golden State Warriors. They didn't win because they were the better offensive team, even though they were. They won because they were the better defensive team. They
hmm,
were able to shut down Marcus Smart and Jalen Brown and all of those guys on Boston. That's why they won, not because they just scored buckets on buckets on buckets. Because there were some nights that people were like, "What's going on with Steph Curry? He can't even hit a free throw."
yeah.
So you know they
That
kind of
was
go hand in hand.
ridiculous going back to that series when he missed 4 free throws. And when I go back to it now, when since he's won his fourth championship ring and he threw up the four when he missed that fourth one, I feel like he was telling us something there. And
He
as
might have.
Nuggets fans,
There's that conspiracy theory.
and Nuggets fans should have just let that series go after we went 3-0, man.
They should have. They should have. But hey, I mean, I like the fight. I love the fight of the Nuggets in that series. Like they were way overmatched
Yeah.
by the
Oh,
Golden State
completely.
Warriors, but they
Completely.
still stayed in almost every game but one and won a game.
That's what I'm saying, that the Nuggets were probably the best, or gave the best competition to the Warriors, because everyone wants to say it was the Grizzlies, but the Grizzlies, they had that 30-point blowout after the Warriors had blew them out and they went 3-1. The Warriors walked that next game in with no energy, with no sense of urgency. They knew they were going to win that series. They didn't have any care in the world. They just lollygagged that entire game until the next game where they closed it out completely. Each game with the Nuggets, besides one, was a blowout. Other than that, it was close throughout that
Yep.
series, and even the last game in Game 5, when the Nuggets were up by 8 going
Yep.
into the fourth quarter, and they
That
lose
was a
by
fight.
4. Are we happy about that? No, but we didn't let that game get away from us when the Nuggets were down 3-1.
Right. And that the craziest thing about that game is they lost by 4 and missed 9 free throws.
Yeah,
That's
ridiculous.
painful. That's painful right
And
there.
it's a game of
But
inches.
yeah, it is. It really is. And so, real quick, draft grade for Peyton Watson.
I'm gonna go with the C minus. Uh, I don't know how confident I am in bringing a guy with the facts basis that you were saying. Someone who said he was going to be one and done, and the place where he was committing told him, "Well, we don't know if you're gonna. Can't guarantee you those minutes." So, giving a guy who hasn't really had much experience at the next level and drafting him for a first round pick, I don't. I'm not too confident in it, man. I want a guy who's ready to play right now and compete for a roster spot, not someone who you're gonna take a chance on, or someone who potential is not promised. Let's just say that. So he
Yes.
does have a lot of work to put in on the offensive game. His defense is at the level where NBA level, but he needs to get that offensive game up to par.
Yeah. I agree on everything you're saying. Potential is not guaranteed, but because of that potential, I will give it a C plus and a little bit of an incomplete. I got to see what he's able to do in the G League when he's playing, as a boy amongst men. Essentially, is what every rookie does when they start out. It's the boy amongst men, then they graduate to a man amongst boys. So I have to see what he does against other professionals with consistent minutes, starters minutes in the G League. If he's able to dominate in the G League, this grade will go exponentially higher. Like this could go all the way from a C plus to an A plus, depending on how this kid develops. And we all know this system develops players. It is very rarely that they take a guy that's a project and they don't make him better. They might not make him great, but they will make him better. And at the very least, a serviceable piece of an NBA roster. So
Mm.
I have the faith that this front office, that this team with its veteran leadership will be able to rein in any of the BS he might have going on around him. And that's just speculation. We don't know if that there's really any red flags. These are just things that we take from what we research and things of that nature, the way that they react and act and the way that they are in press conferences, things of that nature. So it's not like anybody's came out and been like, this guy's a cancer and everything, but there's just some red flags, some worries. So that's why he gets a lower grade from both of us and not a higher grade just simply because he has potential. Both of us are realists and we're going to keep it real. So my C plus, his C minus. Now on to another pick that, again, nobody saw coming. Everybody thought the Nuggets were done at 30. And then all of a sudden, out of left field, they are somehow able to get a second round pick for nothing more than a second round pick next year, move up to 46th overall, and take Ishmael Kamagate, the center out of Paris. This kid, I am really kind of excited about. He is not going to be on this roster. He's born in Paris in the 19th arrondissement of Paris to Ivorian parents. He actually started his athletic career as a goaltender in soccer or goalkeeper in football, as they say in Europe, which he did not like. He was introduced to basketball at age 11. So very late in his life when you think about these kids that start at 4 or 5 years old here in America. So he was a little bit later, but tore up the court from there on. He played for Paris Level, something of that nature in French,
Mm.
in the professional leagues when he was still a teenager. So he was playing in the Euro professional leagues as a teenager. He is an absolute beast, over 7 foot, almost 7 foot, 6'11", 220 pounds. And the craziest thing about this kid that makes me happy is that he has 9 blocks in a single game last year. 9 blocks in one game. That's one off from the EuroLeague record that was set by Derek Lewis of 10. So the kid is an above the rim center on both sides of the court. I'm excited for him. What do you got?
Man, all I can say is you did your research. I tried to look this guy up. I could not find one dot
It's
in
hard.
information. Was he the league? Was it the Euro League he played for, or was it a
It
different
was
kind
the
of
LNB Pro B, Pro A. It's the league in France.
France?
It's abbreviated LNB. I don't know what that stands for, and it's probably
Okay,
French, and I can't say
okay.
it.
Well, having 9 blocks in a game,
Yeah.
I mean, real Matumbo style. And shout out to Dikembe Mutombo, his birthday today. Shout out to one of
Oh
the Nuggets
yes.
greats.
Happy birthday, big man.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, if what makes you think he won't make this team? Now, I did hear a thing he's probably committed to playing overseas again this upcoming season. But if he gets a shot, shows his stuff in the summer league, I think it's a good backup big behind Jokic to run the court for 10 to 12 minutes a night, have some defense. Now, I do know his defense needs to improve if he's going to be on the NBA level. I know guys in France aren't as strong as these NBA players. They don't have as much athleticism or strength as these NBA players do. So maybe Ishmael might be taking advantage of the smaller man. But I would love to see this guy make it to this roster, 6'11" 11 shot blocker, something the Nuggets haven't had in a long time,
No.
like a traditional shot blocker. I know Jokic averages a block a game, but is he really a shot blocker, or is he just a 7-foot guy who's supposed to do that? You know what I
He's just
mean?
a big dude that swats shit.
You
That's all
know,
that is.
like if I feel like if you're past a certain height, That should be your job, is to at least get a block. Now we're talking about a real shot blocker. When's the last time the Nuggets have actually had that? I can't
Dikembe.
really think of one since
Maybe
Birdman,
JaVale when he was a rookie, like
JaVale.
really young. Yeah, that was probably the last one. But the real like superstar shot blocker the Nuggets have had was Dikembe, without a doubt.
Again, but yeah, and as we said, on his birthday, to get a guy who's from France, or born in, was it? Where did you say he was born? He was in
Uh,
France from
he was
parents
born
that
in
were.
France. Yeah, he was born in the 19th arrondissement. That's essentially like a suburb in Paris, in France. That's what they call a suburb, is
Yeah,
an arrondissement. So he was born in a suburb of Paris to Ivorian parents.
and I gave you the player comparison earlier, and that was Sekou Doumbouya from the Pistons. Now I don't think he plays for the Pistons anymore. Now a lot of you might think, "Oh, who the hell is that?" I know you're probably thinking that right now, but he's a long guy who comes from France. I know how they like to play their game out in Europe. It's all about skill. It's all about the offensive game. But to bring a guy who is a shot blocker, who plays defense, as we were saying with Peyton Watson, if you can develop an offensive game into him and made him a two-way player, this guy is, a key factor to your team and winning a championship.
Yeah, he's a legit alley oop threat. Even at 7 foot, like this kid is springy. Like
Yeah.
if you go and look at you go watch his highlight reels, yes, is he a lot bigger than his competition, like you were saying earlier? Yes, he is. But the athleticism is legit. I mean, this kid is insane on the boards. I mean, just last year at the 21 FIBA U under 20 European Challengers tournament, he averaged 10.2 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 2.4 blocks per game. 2.4 blocks per game. Like he averages over 2 blocks a
how,
game.
how how many minutes is he hitting?
He's hitting like 20.
Damn. So
Yeah.
it's per 36 is at 4. If you know the competition he's playing, as I think that will always be the bugaboo of this topic, is he is playing probably less talented players. I'm pretty sure he's not going to be doing that in the
Well,
NBA.
the European Challengers Tours, that's the best players from
Oh,
around Europe.
okay.
All the best players under 20. That's why I brought that one up. Like he in the European Championship League in Greece, he averaged 4.6 points and 3.9 rebounds in 2019. So when he does jump competition, going from like Paris to these super regionals and things of that nature, his game actually rises. So he actually gets better as the opponents get better. So I like that fact. So that should lend itself well to that jump from the Euro League to the NBA.
All right. Question here. I just thought of it. The three guys we just named: Christian Braun, Peyton Watson, Ishmael Kamagate. Are any of them born in the 90s?
I don't think so. Kamagate was 2001. I'm pretty sure all these kids are post 2000.
So is that making me ancient now? Does
You
that make
ancient boy, I was born in the 80s. Who are you talking about? This fool over
no,
here trying to talk about he old.
all
What's that?
seriousness, all seriousness. When you see someone, at least with the draft, when you see all these guys are 2000, not even 2000, 2000, you seen 2002, 2003. Now maybe I went over the top. That's an overstatement to say I'm ancient.
Yeah, you're good.
Playing around. I'm 99. I'm still a shocker to you. You're probably thinking, damn, they had babies in '99 already. You
Right.
know, that's how I feel with these guys coming out the woodwork from 2003, 2004, and they're 7 foot, 6'10". I'm like,
Right.
man, what the hell happened to life? I got hit harder than a Louisville
Right.
Slugger by life.
Dude, think about me when I'm looking at these kids being drafted born in 2004 and I graduated high school in 2004.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, trust me, I feel the oldness. I feel the ancientness. That is most definite.
Well,
Um,
it doesn't help everyone's being one and done now.
no, no. But I
Kudos to
mean,
you.
did we all not
But
expect this to come back? I mean, eventually the one and done is going to be gone too. We're going
yeah,
to be right back to kids getting drafted at 18 years old. just
Hmm.
like Bronny and Kobe and all the rest of those guys. Like, I don't know why people thought that forcing kids into an education they don't want was a smart idea, but
Well,
this is the
I,
ridiculousness of
I think
American
it's unfair to kids who are trying to make a, not just a better life for them, but a better life for their family, you know. And it's unfair to them to try to force an education when you know their main intention isn't to pursue an education, it's to make a career out of their own athletic ability that doesn't really need much of intellectual in the classroom, you know. Chad Johnson said it best from the Cincinnati Bengals. I didn't want to go to school to sit in class. All I wanted to do was play football. And there's a lot of guys in the league. They didn't want to go to class to go to school. They wanted just to go there just so they could play basketball. That was their only mind. Play ball, chase a couple girls maybe, but it was never. And I'm not saying these guys are dumb at any level, but that just wasn't their intention to go and sit in a classroom for a set amount of hours.
Well,
And
when you're coming from high school where you're allowed to skip all of your classes because you're the guy on campus, like what incentive do you have to go to class? You've never had that incentive throughout your entire life. Why would that change in college where you
yeah,
have even more distractions? Where you have, like you said, the women, the alcohol, the drugs, the
yeah.
parties, the frats, the sororities. I mean, everything is a distraction in college.
Mhm.
Why would you send a kid that his whole life has been about conquests and then send him in a place that's it's nothing but conquests and think that he's not going to get distracted? Like,
Well,
who
I,
really believes these kids go to class anyways? I mean, how
I
many times have we seen kids getting in trouble because they had their tutor or whatever doing their work for them? Why force them into that?
And I'm glad you make that point, and that's why I'm a little bit more with the route of going overseas. I mean, you've seen Jalen Green last year. He was the first kid out of high school to go to the G League and then just go to the NBA draft. I'm
Yep.
more in route with that now. Everyone is kind of against these kids not going to college, pulling that other route. Oh, college you'll miss it. Those are the best years of your life. But all those points you just said, those seems like something that could hold someone back from performing to be at their best ability. If you're just solely worried about basketball and being the best person you can be and have the best basketball career you can have and take care of your family in the best kind of fashion, why wouldn't you want to go the route of a G League or overseas compared to a college where they're barely now paying you for your used rights? What is that?
The
What is it?
NIL,
What is it?
name, image, and likeness.
Yeah, the name, image, and likeness, that whole rule that has just been implemented, which should have been implemented 50, 60 years ago, and now they're
Yes.
barely doing it because they now realize they're losing these kids to these overseas teams. It's kind of messed up because a lot of these universities are seeing them as what would you call it? A way to get attention, a way to get national attention by using some of these kids. And
Hmm.
now, since they're having to pay them for it, they're losing out on that attention, even if they're able to bring them into their university and represent their university. I do like the route of kids going the overseas route and G League compared to college, just because I do still feel that the NCAA takes advantage of some of these kids.
Yes, I 100% agree. They have been taking advantage of amateur athletes for the better part of a century, most definitely. Um, and I do think the NIL will help some of this one and done. And there are definitely kids that need to go to college to develop, but there is always a special case. There's always a LeBron James. There's always a Carmelo Anthony. There's always a Kobe Bryant. The guys that don't need to develop, they just need to go and play in the NBA because they're ready,
Hmm.
and we should allow those guys to do that. Now, yes, does it open the door to getting a bunch of these other guys that we can't even name anymore because they were drafted straight out of high school and did nothing? Yeah. There's going to be people that get bad advice and they're going to be told, "Hey, no, you're ready," just simply because that agent wants that percentage of your first contract. They don't care if you ever sign another contract. They got their money. Go on and do your thing. So, yes, will that happen? But you can't protect everybody. We cannot bubble wrap this world, people. Participation trophies and bubble wrap are not the answer. It drives me crazy. It's like, dude, yes, are some kids going to fall down and skin their knee? So what? Put a goddamn band aid on it, kiss it, and make a move on. Like, it drives me nuts how much we have bubble wrapped this world for these kids.
No, completely, completely. And so it just baffles me to see how young these guys are in the league, just because it just shows how fast the human body develops on that rapidly quick pace. And like you said, like a Kobe, like a Melo, like a LeBron, some people, bodies mature faster than others. And if they're ready to go, they're ready to go. I don't think they need to be restricted to have to pursue a year of education or pursue a year outside of the NBA until they're draft eligible. I feel they need to bring that high school rule back. If you're ready to go, you're ready to go. And if NBA scout sees that, they're going to see that and they're going to draft you. It shouldn't be restricted by the league. It shouldn't be restricted by the NCAA. If you're ready to go, you're ready to go. Now, it is kind of messed up. It is bittersweet because you brought up the point of the agents. They just want to get their money and go. They don't care if you're going to get another contract. And they don't care about your family. They're worried about their family. It's a selfish game. So there's both sides of the argument, but if a kid's ready to go and he's on the high school level, then he's ready to go.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, if a kid has a deeper voice than me at 12, I don't think we need to hold the kid back. Like let the kid be what he is. Like,
yeah.
I don't understand it. So, with all that being said, real quick, draft grade Ishmael Kamagate, to me, it's an A, straight A. I love this pick. Yes, he's going to be stashed in Europe for a few years, but in 1 or 2 years, y'all are going to love this kid as the backup center to Jokic.
That's an overstatement maybe right there. I might think an A. I like it. Controversial. I'm going with the B-. I'm going to be a little bit lower. Just because the fact that he is going to be in Europe for a while. And I mean, we don't know what he's thinking right now. What if he becomes a star in Europe and his dream was never to really come to the NBA? Maybe it was just to be a star. If he came to the NBA, he'd be a role player, maybe, a defensive backup big. And if he becomes a star in Europe, why not throw away that fame? But if he really loves basketball, he would come to the NBA. There's no guarantee of what's going to happen. I do put a B- because if he does come to the Nuggets and plays out here, then, like you said, get ready, folks, because it's going to be some of the best defense and some of the best rim protection we've seen since probably Chris Anderson, Marcus Camby. Yes. I'm putting it on that level. Some of those Nuggets greats,
yes,
who protected the rim. But it's no guarantee that he's coming here. But if he does, oh man, what's the phrase? Like I just said, bittersweet.
Yeah,
bittersweet.
Yeah, I don't see him staying in Europe. There's just no way. Just being able to come and play behind Jokic, because your first contract you're playing behind Jokic, but if you go and ball out behind Jokic, who's to say you don't get a big deal in free agency or you're not traded to a team that gives you a big deal? So I don't see him staying in Europe. He's only 19 years old. That's the major reason why he's going to be stashed in Europe for a year or two. And the reason I give it an A is because they were able to get a potential top tier backup center and potential future starter at center with the 46th overall pick. That's why I went to an A for me. But excuse me. They also, Nuggets went off and signed 3 undrafted free agents. Not only did they draft 3 guys, they went off and signed 3 more after the draft. They are Connor Gillespie out of Villanova, Adonis Arms out of Texas Tech, and Drake Jeffries out of Wyoming, a local kid that grew up in Denver. So, out of these 3 guys, who do you like the most?
Well, out of those 3 guys, I'll tell you the only one I really know, and that's Colin Gillespie. We talked last week, what is this team's needs? And I think the last 2 shows before this one, this team's needs is defense and 3-point shooting. We need 3-and-D guys. We went and got the defense in Christian Braun, and he brings a 3-point shot. Peyton Watson, we don't know how confident we are in him starting on this roster, but he is a defensive guy and need that the Nuggets addressed. Now with Colin Gillespie, you address your 3-point need. He shot the 5th most 3-pointers last year, made it the 5th most, had a 3-point percentage of 40.5 last season.
40.9.
40.9. So right under 41%. I believe he's a 2-time Big East All-American. I mean, his college accolades go from top to bottom. A list. It looks like a grocery list. His college accolades. He was the best player on the Villanova team that went and won the championship. He took Villanova to 2 Final Fours. Same thing as we said with Christian Braun. a guy who knows how to win at not the highest level. Now the NBA is the highest level, but before some would say college basketball is better than a lot more European leagues out there. And Colin Gillespie's another guy who's experienced what it's like to win, what it feels like to be part of a winning atmosphere, and he's someone who I think can do good in the NBA Summer League. Hopefully, he does, and be a part of this roster and be someone who can produce through his 3-point and offensive game.
I agree. I do love Connor Gillespie. The kid, like you said, a winner, just like Christian Brown. He went to Archbishop Wood Catholic High School. He's the son of a police officer. He led the team to a Class 5A state championship in 2017. Plus, like you said, in 2018, the very next year, he went off and won a national championship with Villanova, was the best player on that team. The accolades, like you said, are ridiculous. Two-time third-team All-American in 21 and 22, third-team All-American in 22, two-time Big East Player of the Year in 21 and 22, two-time first-team All-Big East 21 and 22, second-team All-Big East 2020, two-time Robert V. Giese Trophy winner 21 and 22, which goes to the best basketball player on a Philadelphia college team. They're the Big Five: Purdue, Pitt, et cetera, et cetera. Um, he's won that twice. Plus, he was the Big East Tournament MVP in 2022, just this past season. And I love that he's a fighter. Despite being a winner, despite everything, this man did not have a single offer going into his senior season, and then went off and got one from Rider, Hofstra, and Villanova. Those were the only three Division I teams that gave him an offer. And he's just, every time he's given a chance, no matter how hard he has to work for it, he puts in the work. He takes advantage of his opportunities. And I think that he's definitely the one that stands out and has the best chance of making this roster and not going to the G League like an Adonis Arms, who I also like. He is a 6'6", 205-pound guard out of Texas Tech. He actually shot 44% from the field, 32% from three, and 73% from the line, with an expected field goal percentage of almost 50%. So the guy has a shot. He plays really good defense. When it comes to Adonis, I like the fact that when he went from Winthrop, a small school, to a much bigger school in the Big 12 at Texas Tech, his numbers actually went up. His field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, 2-pointers attempted and made, 3-pointers attempted and made, free throws attempted and made, offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, and assists all went up going from Winthrop to Texas Tech. So he's obviously able to take those steps. He's not going to make that big of a jump going from Texas Tech to the NBA. He's one of those that I see going to the G League. Same with Drake Jeffries, a 6'5", 200-pound guard out of Wyoming. Those two guys I see going. Jeffries has a really good shot as well. He shoots 83% from the line, almost 40% from the three-pointer, and a 41% from the field. So it's kind of obvious the pattern that the Nuggets took in this draft and undrafted free agency. They went to get big wings that play defense, shoot over 35% from three-point line, and are winners. Every one of these guys were the best guys on their team at a certain point when their team won something significant, whether it be a championship game, national or regional. These guys all are winners that are 3-and-D wings that were everything that we were talking about they needed. So instead of just going out and getting one veteran, they went out and got 6 rookies. One of them's obviously not a wing. He's a center. But 5 of the 6 rookies are wings that are 3-and-D wings. So they're throwing numbers at the problem.
Yeah, what I would grade all 3 of those, I would just bunch them all together.
Yeah.
You've been giving out a lot of A's. Well, I'm going to pull the numbers 42 and give out my own A.
All right.
And for those 3 pickups, now not all 3 of those guys are guaranteed to be on the team. Maybe even one guy. And if I were to choose one, it'd be Colin Gillespie. But to address the need that, what was it, 3-and-D? We needed that. And we're going to still pursue it in free agency. Yep. But to address the problem, not in the draft, but signing them as undrafted free agent. I mean, how luckier can the Nuggets get? You said three of these guys at one point were the best players on their own team. I feel like it starts when we got MPJ to fall at 14. The Nuggets' luck just kept improving. Now we got Christian Braun,
Yes.
who dropped all the way to the 21st overall pick. The best defensive player on the Kansas Jayhawks, the defending national
Probably the
champions,
draft.
and he dropped the 21st overall pick. Are you kidding me? All
Right.
besides of the Peyton Watson trade, which I don't, or trade pick, I don't think it's a bad pick, but it's definitely not on the level of every other one from Christian Brown to Ishmael to Colin Gillespie via being an undrafted free agent. I think every move made by Calvin Booth was above average. I think I say above average because Peyton Watson kind of lowers it from being excellent. So I'm going to say this draft was an above average draft. It could be a great draft. I just want to see how the outcomes work out for each one of these players.
Yeah, I think Watson's going to be, he's the X factor of this class. He could drag this from an A plus draft all the way down to an F,
Yeah.
depending upon how good he turns out to be. Because again, it's all about potential with him. His was a swing at the future. His was here in 2-3 years when we can't re-sign. If they don't get rid of Will Barton, they can't re-sign Barton, or they can't re-sign Monte Morris here in a couple of years if they don't trade him as well. These are their replacements. Drake Jeffrey. Why I can say all these other crazy names. Why can I not say Drake Jeffries? Why is that so hard? That
The
makes no
alliteration,
sense,
bro. The
right?
alliteration.
Something about that. I don't know. But yeah, Drake Jeffries is the future replacement for Monte Morris. That is what his job is going to be. He's going to sit in the G League and develop for a few years. Um, Connor Gillespie, I do believe he has a legit shot to make this roster even as an undrafted free agent, because he's just one of those guys you can't count out. Every time people try to overlook this guy, he does something great. Like I said, with the senior year, came in, no offers, led his team to the state national or the state title, gets 3 Division I offers, goes to Villanova, no, without really much of any fanfare, goes out there, wins a national championship in his first season as the leader of the team. So like every time that you want to count that kid out, he seems to just rise above. The reason why he was actually supposed to redshirt as a freshman, but he was just so dang good. His coach said, "Nope, not going to happen. You're playing above your years. You're getting on the court." So the only reason he got that national championship was because his coach was like, "No, you're not redshirting." He wanted a redshirt. His coach told him no. So, I mean, that just tells you the will and want to and work ethic of that kid. So, I will not count the kid out. I see him most likely making the roster. Out of these 5 or 6 rookies, there's going to be 2 that make the roster. That's Christian Braun or Brown. I just did it. Christian Brown
I've been doing it the
and
whole show, bro.
Connor Gillespie. I know, right? And then I screw up at the end. Words are hard, damn it. Easy for me to say. But
Especially if
yes,
it's spelled one way
yeah,
and
I'm
you're
not mad
used to.
at. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying when something's spelled one way and you're used to seeing another
Yes.
word similar to it, pronouncing
Yeah.
it that way, and it's wait, what? It's like
Right. Yeah.
what?
Your brain
How?
just doesn't want
Yeah,
to just
you
doesn't
know.
want to make it work. Exactly. Exactly. But yes, your grade of A, I'm not mad at it. All the potential and everything is oozing from all 3 of these prospects. I'm going to go with a B plus. Be a little bit lower because of the fact that it's going to be years before at least 2 of them really show anything. So I'm going to stick at a B plus for them, above average, but not quite great. So um, next up, Jokic wants fellow Serbian Vasilije Micic on the roster. See, I say that and I can't say Drake Jeffries. What the hell? Anyways, is this a worthwhile endeavor, or should the Nuggets be looking somewhere else
Mm.
for another point guard?
I think always look somewhere else because first of all, I know you ain't never heard of that name before. I never heard of that name before. But at the same time, Nikola Jokic is your best player. He's about to get or I think he did get his max deal already. If not, he's in for it. If your best player says, "Hey, can you see what you can do for bringing this guy in?" Then you go do that. You keep your best players satisfied. If you want to win the championship, not just have him win individual awards, but team awards, you go do and try to pursue his wants. And I do believe the Nuggets, they need to go do that. If he wants to play with another Serbian fella, I mean, Nikola Jokic has the best basketball IQ in the NBA. He's not going to tell us to go get some kind of scrub. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty faithful and strong on Nikola Jokic's decision making and scouting. So if he tells you to go get his fellow Serbian, you should go out there and pursue it. Now, is it a promise to him? Nothing's a promise in this kind of business. He should understand that himself. But at the same time, if he wants you to do something, as I said, at least try to make the effort to go get it done.
Yes. Don't assume what I don't know, for one. This man is legit. Micic is legit. Two-time EuroLeague champion, two-time EuroLeague Final Four MVP, EuroLeague MVP, Alfonso Ford EuroLeague top scorer trophy, two times EuroLeague Finals top scorer, all EuroLeague first team, two-time all EuroLeague second team, ABA League champion, two-time Turkish League champion, Turkish Basketball Cup champion, two-time Turkish Super Cup winner, Turkish League assist leader, Serbian League champion, Lithuanian Basketball League champion, King Mindaugas Cup winner, and Serbian Cup MVP. The
So
man is insane.
this dude's life is the actual personification of the game around the world. Like
Yeah,
this dude has played every single
everywhere.
European country you can probably name. How old is he? You said his name. I thought he was a youngster
He
coming
is
out.
28 now.
28, so
He's
he's
6'5",
established.
200-pound point guard.
So I would bring him in. What he was doing, what Facu was doing, or what Monte's doing, if it does happen a scenario where Will Barton needs to be shipped off, but it has to be in a package that includes Monte Morris, which I know we'll get into. And but Monte so happens not to be here anymore. I would go and pursue Joker's fellow Serbian. Now, what's his name again? That's all
Uh,
I know him as is Joker's fellow Serbian friend. I don't know his name.
Vasilije Micic.
All right.
We'll just call him Micic.
Yeah, we'll call him Michik Valley or some kind of I don't know. You
Or
got to give
Vaz.
these guys
Vaz is a good nickname.
give these guys nicknames because there ain't no way I could consistently
We'll
say
call
that.
him Vaz from now on for you.
All right, Vaz, and we'll bring Vaz in.
Yeah, I
We'll bring
agree.
him in.
He is like I said, he's a big point guard. He is 6'5", 200 pounds, plays above the rim, has a great shot. Let's see, he has averaged 40, throughout his whole career, starting from 2014 as a child, essentially, to now. He's averaging 46% from the field, 36% from three, 83% from the line, 2.3 rebounds per game, 4.7 assists per game, one steal per game, and even blocks a few shots at 0.1 blocks per game, and averaging over 26 minutes a game. Like
Okay.
that's really good production in the
Yeah,
EuroLeague.
definitely. And the fact that he's another big basketball IQ, it complements Joker's game completely. And
Oh
if you're
yes,
trying to be a champion to hit the next level, because obviously the Nuggets are not at that next level yet. Yes, their guys are injured, but there's always other players you can acquire, and this might be one of them. Vaz is going to be one of those guys. I hope they do acquire. Now, is it a guarantee they will? No, but
no,
it is a
because they
good
would have
dream
to make another
scenario.
trade with Oklahoma City because they're the ones that own his draft rights. He was drafted in 2014 in round 2, pick 52 overall by the 76ers. So
Hmm.
he's been drafted for over 8 years now.
Hmm.
He's been playing over in Europe. So I think that that's the big reason why Jokic has been kind of pining for him is because he's tired of seeing this poor man waste away in the EuroLeague. I believe he could be a superstar in the NBA with
Yeah.
the way that he plays because like all Europe players, not only does he score, he's been the top scorer multiple times in multiple Europe leagues, is the fact that he plays defense on top of it. I
Hmm.
think him next to Jamal, Jokic, and MPJ, like you said, with that basketball IQ, like y'all want to see some insane passing, get Micic and Jokic on the same team. You will see some insane passes that you just don't believe could possibly get there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And how cool would it be just to have another Serbian on the team, though? We had a Serbian and a Bosnian. That didn't really work out. It's not
Right.
that they didn't like each other, but
Right.
it just
Just
didn't work out.
yeah, I
We
think it'd be kind of cool.
and there was a point when we had Gallo and Wancho, we had Nicola.
Yeah.
We had a lot of European guys on there. We need to have some European
I
flavor
mean,
back on this
we
team.
still got some. Like there's Chanchar,
Chanchar,
Campazzo could be brought back. And there's a couple other guys that are like stuffed in the G League and over in Europe that they have. But yeah, I like the European game. Like I
yeah,
know a lot of people are talking about, they're killing the game with bringing on the 3-pointer and what Steph Curry and all of them have done. But that's because you're a codger and you just don't like exciting basketball. That's all
yeah.
I can say.
There's European ball players. They're each one of them are the same. They're all about skill. They're probably the most skilled players in the NBA. Not the most
Yeah.
athletic, but I guarantee you these guys will go 50 for 50 in a shootout just any other day
Yep.
during a gym session. These guys
Agreed.
are completely skilled.
1000% correct, my guy. And you know what? We just hit an hour. So we'll leave that last one for later.
Huh.
I think we're
Yes,
good here.
sir.
I think we killed that draft. We hit a full hour with nothing but draft, and so yeah, I like it. I like it. We did a great job here. So as always, I am your host Dan Wetstein with the Nug Life Podcast. That's my co-host Santiago Salazar. He will be here with me every week here on Saturday at 5 p.m. And just we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. I see I got somebody in here now. Give me a like, please, and send me a comment, and I'll put you on the screen. If y'all don't know, I can put your comments on the screen. So if you leave comments, I will bring them on the screen and we will talk about them. But I guess they don't want to talk, and we're ending here. So I appreciate you being here. I love you. Make sure you leave that like, hit all the buttons, like, subscribe, hit the bell button for the notifications. That way you know every time we go live. We are always live, at least on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter every time that we go live. So make sure you go there. All the links are down in the description. Make sure you give my boy here some love. His Twitter is right down there below him. Amato_is_ballin. Our Twitter @_the answer is 42. Make sure you check him out. And as always, don't question the blue.